What's up, everybody? John Eric Pauli here with my MMA news, and today's guest just won their UFC debut at UFC Vegas 72, where he defeated Journey Newson by a second round submission. Pleased today to be joined by a fellow Green Bay Packers fan, Marcus McGhee. Marcus, thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate the time, and congrats on the first win.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me on today as well.
Yeah, man, it's no problem at all. Really looking forward to today's conversation. It was a great win for you, and you took this fight on just a few days' notice. I give you a lot of credit for doing that. Just explain what that was like, kind of getting a phone call and just be like, "Hey, you want to fight this upcoming Saturday?" And you're like, "Well, I guess."
I feel like all the universe made me eat my words because I was talking to one of my buddies but right before I got the call, and I was like, "Man, I'm looking for a fight," and he was like, "We're always ready to fight anytime." I was like, "Yeah, I can fight today." Literally drive away and get the call that I'm fighting this weekend. So it was pretty intense, and it was like, "Okay, you said you could do it, so can you really do it?" So it was surreal, and it was also kind of awesome. It was a hectic type of event, just getting everything done, getting everything taken care of before getting into the cage. So to be able to do all those things as fast as I had to do those things, get them all taken care of, and then still show up in the cage like I showed up, I just felt like a professional.
And you mentioned there, right, about how you feel like everybody in the gym, you guys are always ready to go there. I wanted to actually ask you a little bit about that. Of course, the MMA Lab, fantastic gym. I know you have a lot of great teammates. Of course, Sean O'Malley, probably the biggest named teammate there. But you guys, I mean, you see it all the time whenever there's videos coming out from that gym. You guys are in there every day. You're always working. Just, how much do you have to give credit to the gym for having you guys in that type of shape that you're able to do exactly what you just did, take a fight on just a few days' notice, and not only, show up on fight night, but look fantastic and prove that you're ready to go on fight night?
Yeah, I always give the credit to them. I had a couple great people that were a part of my life before I actually got to MMA lab, but like the structure that they've developed for us and the fact that the mentality more so than anything that they've put us behind on how our work rate should be inside and outside of camp, uh, is just great, right? And then the work that we put in as well, just the technical basis of everything too, between jujitsu, kickboxing, striking, any type of striking mentality, and then strength and conditioning too. We have everything we need there, and they pushed us to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we're taking advantage of all those different things that they're giving us the ability to have. So I have nothing but appreciation for my team for sure.
And one of the things I like to always ask fighters whenever they have their first UFC fight is just talking about like the enjoyment of a UFC fight week. It's obviously a lot different than what most fighters are pretty much used to, and there's so much that goes into a UFC fight week that I think a lot of fans don't realize with the poster signings and media, meeting with the production teams, the fighter kit, all of that. But for you, I'm assuming was a little bit different. That you took this on days' notice. What exactly was your fight week like? 'Cause I'm sure everything had to be kind of like extended or probably condensed, I should say. Kind of getting everything all in within just a few days there.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it was like. It was basically like I did everything Thursday. So everything that you do from a Tuesday to a Thursday, I did it all Thursday from 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was very condensed, very fast moving, very back to back. And that's why I said I felt like it was a pro. It was a lot to do and a lot to check off the box to be able to step in the cage. So that was like, I felt really good about that, even going in there.
And I give you credit too with doing that because I know obviously fight week is hectic enough. Never mind doing everything all within a short time period, within a few hours. That's got to give you big credit there to be able to pull it off the way that you did there. Let's get into this fight now here a little bit. Start breaking down some of this action here. The big thing was in round one, you really came out and you set the pace. You dictated the way this fight was going to go. Just talk about that. Was that the game plan, being that you only had a few days, that you were going to come right out and set that very fast pace the way that you did?
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, that's always the game plan. That's always the game plan. I mean, I like to set the pace right off the rip. Whether or not I'm going fast or not, or the speed of what I do, that changes slightly. But as far as setting the pace, like, yeah, I like to get after it, and I like to be in exciting fights. I like to be an exciting fighter. And that's just how I am. I think that comes through skateboarding and all the extreme sports that I've done my whole life. Like, I guess I'm an adrenaline junkie. I thrive in that type of emotion. And I just like to get after it. So I knew it. I knew that I was going to come out and just get right to work. I tend to do that very often and find my place. So that felt normal to me.
And the other thing I had to ask with all of that too is this might just be like a theory or this like notion that's out there, but I mean, I guess typically a lot of times you'll see it in the UFC where fighters that take a last minute fight, if they come out with that high pace, it's because they want to end things. They're worried about a gas tank. Often you'll see people be gassed at the end of a first round. I didn't get that vibe from you at all there. I think it was just you just setting that pace the way that you wanted to there. How were you feeling at the end of that first round? Were you tired at all or not? That you were just good? That's the way you like to fight?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because yeah, I didn't feel like I was in a rush either, like to get out of there. I was enjoying every moment of it. I'm gonna get paid by the hour, but I really enjoy what I do. I love doing this, I love being in that cage, and I think that the sometimes all the emotions outside of the cage, people bring that in there with them and forget that this is what we really enjoy to do. I enjoy looking at another man in his eyes across the cage and knowing that we're about to find out who's the better man tonight. So, I really felt that. And as far as fatigue, I was worried. It's 3 days notice. I've been training really hard, but like still, you never, like you have confidence. But I was wondering after that first round, I was like, oh man, am I going to be tired? And I sat down on the stool and I took a couple first breaths and I was like, okay, we're good. Let's go. We're going to turn it on this second round too.
Yeah, well, you definitely turned it on in the second round, that's for sure. I think just maybe 2 minutes of action, maybe into that second round, and you got things done there. Let's talk about that sequence now that you ended it on. You land a nice straight punch that drops Journey down on the ground there. Just take us through what you saw there that dropped him, and then how you were able to take us back and get the submission win.
Yeah, that left hand was landing. I'm pretty good I'm an ambidextrous fighter. I fight southpaw and orthodox, and I think it gives people fits, because I'm pretty I'm pretty fluent in both styles. So when I see things set up there, I kind of go for them and I can feel comfortable there, defensive and offensive. So I kept seeing that straight left land. I kind of saw it in my head landing constantly. That left kick too. I knew it was either going to be that left hand, left kick that was going to hurt him at some point. As long as I just kept on being precise about me throwing it. So when I actually hit him, I didn't even feel the actual punch. So there was two thoughts in my mind. Man, did I hit his arm? Or man, did I just hit him that hard? Because that's what they always say, like the cleanest punches you don't feel, and I did, and I guess like a well-oiled gun. It's like it just exploded, came back, and it was like, oh, observe, observe. All right, let's go. And I didn't know how bad he was hurt. I knew he had sat down, and I went to go pounce too, but I didn't want to get overly crazy trying to pounce, and decided that I was going to trust my jujitsu.
Hey, well, all worked itself out, obviously getting that submission win there. Let's talk afterwards now. Just what were the emotions like after getting that first win, and how'd you celebrate the win afterwards?
Yeah, as far as the emotions, I just was taking it all in. I really feel like I took the whole moment in. Like I really was there for my moment. I remember everything. I remember feeling everything. I remember breathing it all in, saying thank you, appreciate you to every single person that I wanted to, like really being there. So after it was all said and done, I was kind of over the moment, not over it in a way like, oh, I'm just past it, but it was like when you're so present for a moment, I'm gonna have that moment for the rest of my life. So like all the bigness of the moment kind of just already went because I really embraced it, and so very shortly after there, I was just back to regular life, living, being thankful and just living. And so we didn't really do too much craziness. We just went to the strip, to the Vegas strip, and got some pizza and maybe walked around, maybe walked like 2 blocks, and then went back to the hotel, ate a little bit of ice cream, and then I had to get on the airplane pretty early. And my wife was going to be crazy if I missed my flight to stay in Vegas, so I had to shoot on back home. So that was about as big as the celebration got. Get to eat a little bit this week too, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, food's definitely well deserved there, that's for sure. Let's talk now here, because if I'm not mistaken, extra $50,000, I believe you got, right, for the performance bonus there. It's a nice chunk of change there. Any plans maybe to buy something nice with that extra money? Or I know obviously you're a family guy there. Is that money going to, just supporting the family?
Yeah, for the most part, supporting the family, supporting the brand, trying to push it, just the beginning of me trying to build my brand, build my presence. And I know everybody who started a business and company understands, it takes it takes overhead to put, it takes a little bit of revenue to start making things happen. So yeah, I'll be pushing it towards that, and then I will do a couple things with the family. I do want to take them on a nice little vacation, 2, 3, 4 day vacation to a nice spot for us just to enjoy each other. So that'll probably be the biggest expense I spend anything on. And then past that, house, car, the mortgage, all that good stuff. We got so many grown people bills. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds really nice. And then I start doing the math, like, what do my bills look like this year? Like, oh man, the money's gone, Yeah, but it was awesome. It was awesome to hear I got the bonus in my debut too.
And all that money goes towards all that fun adulting stuff like you mentioned there. Let's end though today now. Obviously, fantastic win there, and congratulations again. I do want to end though today talking a bit about you outside of the cage here. I know you did mention this actually a little bit earlier in one of your answers. I don't know if anybody watching had caught on to it or not, but I'm going to ask you about it now. You mentioned about skateboarding and extreme sports. You, for a while, were a professional skateboarder. Just what was that like? That's obviously a crazy profession to get into.
Yeah, yeah. So I never went pro. I was a semi-professional skateboarder. I had a lot of sponsors, and I did compete in professional tournaments. But the way you go pro in skateboarding is you have to have a company actually turn you pro. And then you start going that way. And I never had a pro deck or pro shoe or anything like that. So I never got to go pro, but I was very much like all over the place with it and loved it very much. And that's still part of my life now. I still skateboard. I do just enough where it looks cool and just enough where I don't get hurt. So yeah, skateboarding is one of the biggest things that I'm really into. Also, a really big anime fan, gaming fan. I do game and watch a lot of anime. My kids watch anime with me as well. And then I also have just started up my own podcast called Punches and Pints. Nothing too crazy. We're just on there talking about different things in life. Going through different people's life experiences, how they get into their own lifestyles, what they do to try to be successful, and just picking different people's mind, and then also just talking to people about mental health and maybe even things about our children. So like just getting into conversation. So that's kind of something that I've adopted to too is podcasting, and it's actually been a lot of fun doing that as well. Something I never really thought I would be into, but I really am.
Yeah, the podcasting world is really fun. Just getting to know different people and their backgrounds and everything. I'm lucky enough to obviously, be in the same sort of realm there, and it's been obviously a lot of fun. I really enjoy it as well there. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, and obviously anybody just hearing that answer could tell you're a very busy guy. I believe you said in your post-fight interview inside of the Octagon there that there was a while where you were working so many different jobs, and you said you worked like 60 hours a week or something like that. What were the jobs that you were doing there for a while?
So for the last 8 years, it was only one job that I was with, and I was in the cannabis industry. So I actually worked for Bloom Dispensaries. They're one of the bigger corporations out here that have been around since cannabis went legal in 2012. I started with them as a security guard and moved my way from security to being an operational manager for the whole facility, which is a big thing for me. And a lot of that came from the work that I put in. I was still training and fighting and doing the things I was doing, which was awesome, and people appreciated it at my job as well. But I was running the company as well for my owners, essentially for the owners of the company. And it's another one of my passions, growing cannabis and pushing out the properties of cannabis and the good things about it, and how to use it, how to go about implementing it into your life, and like what it actually does, and the safety of it and the harms of it as well too. So it was one of those things I really enjoyed doing, but it was also supporting the family, especially as I was moving up, getting paid bigger and bigger money. It was harder for me to get away from it because I was good at it. So actually last year I ended up getting fired. They severed me. We got bought out by a bigger corporation, and they came in. They just basically, clean house, and I was one of the ones that got cleaned up out of there. And it was a blessing in disguise. It pushed me to completely step into this, which is something I've wanted to do for years. And I didn't because as a father who didn't really have a father, my dad was in jail my whole life. I wanted to make sure that I provided everything for my family, and that was really important to me. So I stuck to that, and that's why I never let go of it. And they pushed me out, and then I was like, oh, well, thank you. I'm gonna go now.
It's something how things work out, like that. As former now Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers would always famously say, life is a beautiful mystery. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, there I have to end with a Packers question for you. I know we talked briefly about this before we came on air here. I am a big believer here. I'm a fan of the trade with the Jets, with getting Rodgers out of there. I just feel it's best for both parties involved. Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl. Jets are kind of in a great spot to do it. Green Bay, I'm telling you, the future, at least in my opinion, future's very bright. Going to be a little raw on offense this year, but I really think all the room to grow. I really think the Packers within a few years here are going to turn it around really, 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 really fast. I think they can even shock teams this year. I really do. Just your thoughts on the upcoming football season here with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan. I always think they're going to do it. I'm sorry, my dogs are going crazy up
All
there.
good.
Somebody must be the mailman. But yeah, I honestly I always believe that Packers can come back. They have a great coaching staff, and I think it's gonna be a crazy season. I honestly haven't been able to keep up with it like I would like to, or even keep up with the drafts and how everything is kind of playing out. But I'm riding with the Packers until it's death me, cheesehead all through my life. So I'm gonna be riding with them. So I'll be looking a little bit closer this season.
Awesome, man. Thanks again for all the time. Really appreciate it. Again, congratulations on the first win there. First of many, I'm sure. Just last thing before I head out for the day, go ahead, plug your social media so people know where to follow you at. Any management sponsorships that you got to plug, anything like that, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, first, again, I want to thank you for bringing me on and letting me use your platform to discuss myself and bring myself out to the world. And then, second of all, my team at the MMA Lab, my management, Iridium Sportsman or Agency, my sponsors, Grown Four out here in Phoenix, their Tucson Cannabis Campus in Tucson is phenomenal. They've been rocking with me forever. This is actually one of their shirts right here. Again, Hulu out here. I got what's called Core Chiropractic. So many different great sponsors that have just been backing me, and I'm hoping to keep on linking to more different sponsors. And then also you can find me on any socials, Instagram, Maniac_McGhee MMA, or you can find me on Twitter at Maniac McGhee 07. Also, I do have a YouTube page, and my podcast has a YouTube page as well, Punches and Pints for my podcast, and then Maniac McGhee for the YouTube channel. So yeah, definitely check me out on all sources.